Right now, Vice President Kamala Harris is in Vietnam pushing ahead on a short trip to Asia. This after her flight from Singapore to Vietnam was delayed yesterday following a report of a possible incident of what's known as Havana syndrome at the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi. The mysterious illness first emerged in Cuba. In 2016, U.S. officials reported an increase in the number of suspected cases earlier this year. They're alarming. Victims report dizziness, nausea, headaches, head pressure. Some have been diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries. It's serious. It seems to be expanding. Joining me now to discuss is James Giordano. He's a neurology professor at Georgetown University Medical Center. He's also director of the Institute for Biodefense Research. He's advised the U.S. government on neuro weapons. I mean, it sounds like science fiction, Mr. Giordano, but this is happening. They don't have an official explanation yet, but they have a theory. Can you explain what that is?
That's correct. I mean, it's almost that science fact seems stranger than fiction. The theory is that there's some form of directed energy device that can be aimed with selective targeting that then produces these disruptive effects. So at this point, we're thinking the device is either an ultrasonic device, microwave device, some combination of both.
And the intention to injure or the intention to steal data from a device, but it also injures as sort of collateral damage?
It could be both. It could certainly be both. The idea that there may be an injurious artifact and that the initial intent is surveillance, and or that there's a combined intent of both surveillance and injury, or that it's simply a disruptive effect to induce injury and some member of disablement as well.
You've been advising the State Department on this issue going back 4 years now to 2017, and you shared some documents with us adapted from what we should be clear is unclassified information that you previously provided to the Pentagon. You've examined the possibilities. You find the most possible or probable causes are, as you say, ultrasonics, electromagnetic pulsing. I mean, what does this do to people?
Well, it can do two things. I mean, the ultrasonics have been known for a while to be able to produce a variety of effects. For example, it creates imbalances within the inner ear, and those disruptions can then cause people vertigo, confusion. But one of the things we also recognize is that ultrasonics can also induce something called a cavitation effect. In other words, little bubbles that can be produced in almost any fluid medium, including the fluid of the inner ear, which can then be translated to the blood supply to the brain, which then produces something very similar to decompression sickness, decompression illness, which may have long-term structural and functional implications. Microwaves, on the other hand, work a bit differently. And the way they essentially work is that the brain is really nothing more than an electrochemical organ. And microwaves can then disrupt the electrochemical integrity and break up the network connectivity that's so important to brain function.
Goodness. Well, listen, call you doctor, but James Giordano, we appreciate the work you're doing on this. A lot of folks out there suffering and they need answers. We're going to continue to follow the story. I do want to bring our viewers now live to the Pentagon, where Major General Hank